Migrant boat capsizes off Libya, leaving 53 people dead, including 2 babies. Tanzanian and Russian foreign ministers meet in Moscow, hail 65 years of relations between both countries. Plus, African leaders back united front for EU talks at mining Indaba conference in Cape Town, South Africa. Hello everyone and welcome to the program. I'm Joke Rogers here in Lagos. We begin in Libya today, where tragedy struck after a rubber boat carrying 55 migrants and refugees capsized in the Mediterranean Sea, leaving 53 people dead, including 2 babies. According to the International Organization for Migration, only 2 people survived the incident, both Nigerian women who were rescued by Libyan authorities on Friday. The boat departed late Thursday night from the coastal city of Al-Zawiya, west of Tripoli, but began taking in water several hours later before overturning near Zuwara. Libya has remained a major transit point for migrants from sub-Saharan Africa attempting the dangerous journey to Europe. The IOM says nearly 500 migrants have already been reported dead or missing on the Libyan-Mediterranean route so far this year. A massive fire has ripped through Maradi's central market in southern Niger Republic, destroying one of West Africa's most important trade hubs, linking the country with neighboring Nigeria. The blaze broke out shortly after midnight on Sunday, lighting up the sky above the city, located about 700 kilometers southwest of the capital, Niamey. Emergency services received calls around 20 minutes past midnight, but by the time firefighters arrived, the flames had spread rapidly, forcing calls for additional support, including the Air Fire Brigade. While no lives were lost, officials say the damage is extensive, with more than 100 kiosks destroyed, dealing a heavy blow to the local economy. Traders are in shock, saying they lost almost all their goods, as Maradi's decade-old central market lies in ruins. Burkina Faso's transitional parliament has approved a bill banning all political parties, a move analysts say further consolidates the grip of the military junta led by Captain Ibrahim Traoré. The legislation, passed without opposition on Monday, repeals existing laws covering or governing political parties, their financing, election campaigns, and the status of the opposition. Political parties have already been suspended in the Sahel countries since the military seized power in 2022. The development comes despite growing international concerns. Last week, the United Nations Human Rights Chief urged authorities to halt what he describes as the repression of civic space and to abandon plans to outlaw political parties. Burkinabe authorities have also tightened restrictions on civil society in recent months, though the government insists the ban is a necessary reset to reduce political polarization. And Tanzania has reinforced its diplomatic ties with Russia as Foreign Minister Mahmoud Thabit Kombo delivers a message from President Samia Suluhu Hassan to Russian President Vladimir Putin during talks in Moscow. The message was handed to Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov ahead of their meeting on Monday, underscoring what both sides describe as a long-standing and strategic relationship between Dodoma and Moscow. Both ministers highlighted the 5 years of diplomatic relations between the two countries, praising Tanzania's cooperation with Russia at the United Nations and within broader Russia-Africa engagements. The meeting also touched on plans to mark the anniversary with high-profile cultural and diplomatic events, signaling a desire to deepen bilateral ties beyond politics.
Left our desire to see President Assad in Russia. She has an invitation, and whenever she finds convenient dates, we would be very glad to host her here, and I hope you would be accompanying the President. Otherwise, I think I have to underline that relations between our countries have long history. Actually, I think this year
65.
we are commemorating 65th anniversary, and today we can discuss how we can commemorate this date. Exchange of messages, maybe some seminars, some exhibitions. And I would like to express our satisfaction with cooperation between Russia and Tanzania in international organizations, the United Nations, first of all, but also in the context of Russia-Africa strategic cooperation. We are now discussing the timing and venue of the third Russia-Africa summit. We established, as you know, the ministerial, which convened year before last in Sochi and last December in Cairo. So there are things which we can discuss very usefully, aiming at improving our coordination. And of course, I look forward to exchanging views on our bilateral matters, economy, trade, finances, culture, education. Very nice to see you. Welcome once again.
Thank you. Thank you very much for welcoming me in this wonderful city. The President was scheduled, as you know, to come here on the 12th of February this month. Everything was organized, but some urgent issue came up, and she sends her regret, which is also written in the letter to His Excellency President Vladimir Putin, and she instructed me to make sure be here before the 12th, the date that she was supposed to be here, in respect and significance of the invitation and the value she gives the invitation that she has received. So this state visit, official state visit, will be postponed to a future date that will agree between both the parties. We had some discussion and some proposition, but we'll communicate those through diplomatic channel. I once again thank you and His Excellency President also, together with the whole team from your side, for elevating our strategic cooperation. And that was mentioned in the President's speech when she was speaking to the world via all the diplomatic missions and the international organization in Tanzania. She spelled that very clearly about our relationship with Russia and elevating it to a higher strategic level.
We appreciate this.
Thank you. And we are ready on our side to celebrate our 65 years in a big bang this year in December, whereby we will also do 1 week in Tanzania, and we propose if we can do 1 week of 3 days in Russia, will also be very good on both sides.
Big bang.
Big bang, big bang. A bang.
Elsewhere, Africa's mining future is in focus in Cape Town, South Africa, as this year's Mining Indaba conference opens under the theme Stronger Together. Government leaders, investors and industry players gather at the annual conference to shape priorities for one of the continent's most critical economic sectors. Delivering the keynote address, Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema urges African countries to take greater ownership of their economic programs, including engagements with the International Monetary Fund, while stressing the importance of value addition and industrialization within the continent. This year's conference places strong emphasis on strategic minerals as Africa positions itself at the center of the global green energy transition.
For us, this is not merely a slogan. It is a strategic imperative for Africa to act collectively. Speak in one voice. Avoid destructive race to the bottom in our engagement with global powers investors. Let's not allow a situation where, when we talk with our colleagues from Europe, we talk to them as EU, but we talk to them as individual 54 countries. We're much weaker. My background is in the trade union movement. I know that when you are a worker alone, you are weaker against the employer. But once you form a union, at least you have a collective power to engage the employer. Same applies to the continent. This continent owes it to itself to unite, work together, talk to the outside world as one. It's a long way to go, but let's try it. Let's give it a go.
Extra intelligent to understand that Africa needs to grow. And for us to grow, the mining sector sits at the center of this. And value addition is a key component. As my brother was saying, what you're saying. We're going to do this across the continent, not waiting in a sequential way, but in a simultaneous way. I believe in that. We need larger quantities of capital, as I said, a fair price of capital. That will allow us to grow in a manner that is sustainable.
I'm joined by Channels TV's correspondent in South Africa, Innocent Samusa. Innocent, great to see you again today.
Great to see you, colleague. A very good afternoon to you and our listeners.
Right, so set the scene for us. What's the mood on the ground at this year's mining conference, and how strong, is the presence of African leaders and global investors?
Yeah, indeed, Joke. This year's mining Indaba, I must say that it looks bigger than the previous ones. In fact, I was talking to my colleagues from other publications when we were collecting the accreditation, that it does seem as though it's bigger than the previous mining Indaba. And it's big because we do have around 11,000 delegates that have come here to exhibit their products. Some are speakers, some are delegates, some are government ministers. So it's big in that way, and I must say that it's one of cautious, but at the same time optimistic, because the leaders here have been discussing what you rightly indicated, so to speak, in your intro, that the issues around how they can position the African continent, not only to be the producer of these minerals, but to be a player and a partner in this minerals, not only producing the minerals, but also making sure that we are indeed represented and our voices are heard when it comes to refurbishing this, or administering this critical minerals. In fact, the president of Zambia, Hakainde Hichilema, in his keynote address, in fact, he mentioned that every mineral is quite critical in the continent. So he was against the word that there are critical minerals and there are less critical minerals. So he was saying that every mineral is critical in the continent, and it's about time that Africa be on the table of decision making when it comes to the topic of minerals in the continent. Joge?
And the theme is stronger together. Beyond the speeches, are there concrete commitments or partnerships emerging that suggest African countries are actually moving towards a united approach in the mining sector?
And I'm glad that the theme speaks about partnership, because part of the problem that we've been seeing here is in the sector itself, because you would know, Joke, that the sector contributes heavily. It's the backbone of the African economy, so to speak. But the challenge over the years, it has been that of coordination and collaboration amongst different companies. But I got here today, I landed today. I will be talking to industry players here. But when I was reading from newspapers, I could tell that there's a lot of meetings that are happening here with different companies. You speak about mining production, you speak about the technology in the mine, you speak about the finances in the mining sector. So you are seeing that there are a lot of talks that are happening, but what we are hoping for, Joke, is that it should not be another talk shop. This should be followed by commitments, timelines that are indeed not empty. But I can tell you now that there's that sense of commitment, because it starts with talking, but it should be followed by commitment and doings. But we're seeing a lot of commitment in terms of the different companies, different nations coming together to really collaborate in this year's mining endeavor, because I think they realize that individually we're singing in different voices, we're speaking in silos, so it's not really working for countries. So they decided that is indeed imperative. It's indeed it's as important as it comes for them to indeed collaborate in this year's Indaba. Okay.
Right, and we've heard strong calls for value addition and industrialization, in addition to the collaboration you've just spoken about. From discussions so far, how realistic is Africa's push to process its critical minerals locally rather than exporting raw materials?
Joke, I wish I had the answer right now, but I can tell you that the big challenge here, on a serious note, it has been the issue of policy coordination when it comes to the issues of mining the continent. For example, the issue around beneficiation for small-scale miners. It has been a long-standing issue that has frustrated a lot of entrepreneurs, not only in South Africa, but around the continent. And you speak about the issue of mine safety, that people are neglecting the fact that you have so many deaths in the sector itself. It speaks to the fact that there is indeed a need for them to look at the issue of safety and security in the mining sector. So I must say that when these investors look at the African continent, part of the problem is that there's no policy coordination. There is no alignment when it comes to policy. And this comes from different governments in the continent, where it indeed takes time for them to legislate and pass some of the laws that would make things seamless in the sector. So I guess it's about time they look at the issues around policy, because that's where we get it wrong as a continent. Because if we get the policy right, that sends the message to the ratings agencies to say that, well, I think this country is investable, this one is not. But also speaking about ratings, Joke, it's important to note that out of the 53 African countries, 33 countries are rated, and only 2 are on investment grade. It's not looking good at all. The numbers are simply not looking good at all. So in that way, there's a need to deal with the issues around policy coordination. Joke.
Right, and with global demand for minerals driving the green energy transition, how are African governments balancing investor interest with concerns around fair financing, environmental protection, and community impact? Remember, Africa is always saying it's bearing the brunt of climate change and global warming. How's this conversation going on?
Indeed, Joke. In fact, earlier today, I was listening on radio. There was a meeting. This was a press briefing of kings, excuse me, from different parts of the country, who have come here to say that their voice matter as chiefs, as kings of rural communities in South Africa. Part of this debate comes at the back of the fact that some of these mining companies, when they come to a community and do a exploration or degradation, they really don't consult the kings. So they have come here as kings and chiefs that, listen, we do have a voice as well. You need to listen to us. And for an example, here in South Africa, we had an issue of illegal miners driving out a community in Johannesburg. We call them zamazamas here, it's locally called zamazamas. And these are illegal mining operations that are driving the community out of their homes. So that is wrong, because now if you have the community, if you have the kings that are invested in this and their voices are heard, you are likely to have such a conversation. But I can tell you now that, Joke, this debate, leaders here at the 2026 Mining Indaba will be watching closely to see whether or not the conversations drive into tangible policies that will result in investment, not only for the SADC region, since it's taking place here, but for the whole continent as a whole, for the whole continent as well. But I can tell you now that it looks exciting because there's eagerness to deal with these issues. You would have had, Joke, the clip that you played earlier from the Minister of Mineral Resources, Gwedemantashe, earlier, speaking about the fact that we should be invested as a continent. Every country should be invested in their own minerals. They must know where their minerals are going and what kind of tariffs they're structured around.
Yeah.
So that is the first step for us as a continent to make sure that we benefit from these minerals that are being mined in the continent. Joking.
Innocent, thanks again.
Thank you so much, colleague, for having me.
Right. We're in Kenya now, in southern Kenya, Kajiado County. A unique school is giving teenage mothers a second chance at education without forcing them to choose between learning and motherhood. Greenland Girls School allows young mothers to return to class while caring for their babies in a safe and supportive environment. Footage from the school shows students attending lessons, taking notes and participating in class just like any other secondary school in Kenya. During breaks, classrooms give way to childcare as the young mothers feed their babies and spend time at an on-site kids center staffed by nannies.
When I came to this school, at first I thought there's something that the people will start avoiding me, the teachers will laugh at me. But when I came, it was an irony for me because I found that everything that I expected is the opposite one. I came here, the teachers were friendly, the students were friendly. Even the Form 4s who finished their KCSE last year, they are the ones who were here. They are the ones who took care of me. When I didn't have anything, they provided for me. They were like, you are a sister. We know this path. Even though we don't have kids, we know what you are passing through. They helped me a lot. I have seen my light, which was dimmed.
Some of the challenges we normally face here, the most needy one is the health of the children and their babies. Like for now, we are having the doctor's strike. They go to the hospital, some are under 18 years, they don't have the SHA. So when they go there, they are being told, without the SHA, you cannot be treated. The baby is back. So health has become a main problem in the institution. Again, transport facilities here. Like now, we don't have a school bus. If a girl is sick or the small babies are sick, we have to hire a vehicle. If not so, if the director is around, is to come for the babies to take them to hospital. Again, we have other challenges of these girls may be lacking basic needs like sanitary towels. Some are even lacking soaps and even the diapers for the babies, but these ones we normally provide for them.
And we end the program with a fun fact about Africa, and this one is quite a nice one. Did you know that Mozambique, located in southeastern Africa, is the only country in the world with all 5 vowels in its name and features an AK-47 on its national flag? It boasts of more than 2,400 kilometers of coastline, rich in coral reefs and beaches, and was a Portuguese colony for nearly 500 years. The country is home to the Zambezi River and a young population with around 50% under the age of 17. That's our program today. Thank you for watching. I'm Joke Rogers.